Hi all, so I'm going to show you how to make these scrunchies. These are the same starting base, this just has more rows. And you can see the difference you can get. This just has 2 more rows than this one, and you get much chunkier scrunchie. So you can have a little tiny one if you want, just maybe for a little girl or something. And then if you have big thicker hair and you want something that really shows up, something like this could work wonders. Now I use a colour changing yarn, which is why you have all of these, but for the example I'm just going to use the normal yarn, just a plain coloured yarn, but you can use any yarn you like really. These are DK weight yarns, but I'm just using up scraps that I got here, so you can make it with anything you like really, but we're going to show you how to do those ones, okay? So first thing is just a headband, a hairband. Now this one here, as you can see, has the black band, but you don't really notice it a huge amount, and once it's tied in you wouldn't notice it at all. And this one here, if you can get underneath, is made with this more lighter brown colour, so it really doesn't matter which colour you use, just take your pick. I'm going to use, actually I might go with black because it might be easy for you to see the stitches on a black base, so we're going to go with the black one. And these are just basic hairbands I got from Tesco. They're nothing spectacular, but what you want is a good thick one. I've done this with the thinner bands before, and they tend to snap if you get too much pressure on them, so try to get a nice good thick band, it's the better. Okay, and now obviously I said I'm using DK weight. This is a scrap ball, it was another project, which is why it's all wrinkly, but it makes no difference to the item you make, so don't worry about it. These ones were made with that yarn, and you can't tell that it's reused wrinkly yarn once they're made, so don't worry about it. And then I'm using a 4mm hook. Basically use a hook that goes with your yarn. That just gives a nice even stitch. It's not too tight but not too loose either, because you want it to be reasonably snug around there, but you don't want to have it all bunched up. You want a little gap, because otherwise if you get too much on there you'll actually overstretch your hairband thing, and your hairband will actually fail faster. Because if you imagine if this was on constant pressure and being over full, by the time you stretch it even more, it's going to become too overstretched. So just have it so in its current state here, it fits nicely around, but then when you stretch it like that, the yarn will still fit around without restricting the band. I will show you as I go how it's going. Okay, so we're just using the DK. If I can find what I did with my end, will be really good. There we go. I'm using middle thread, because it's just easier to work with. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with a slip knot. Create a slip knot however you want. I tend to have, this is the tail end, the working end, and have it that way, and then I twist it over so the tail end is over the working end, and then I grab the working end and I pull it through, and that's your slip knot. But I know other people do it different ways, whichever way is easiest for you, it doesn't really matter. But once you've got your slip knot, try not to throw the hair thing away. Should we see if we can come in a bit closer for you? I will try to stay on camera, but this close it gets a bit hard. So we've got your slip knot. Hold your yarn however you normally hold your yarn. I hold it in my left hand while my work is done in the right, because I'm right-handed. So then hold this and just pop your hook through there. If you've ever done the magic loop, this is a similar method. You're going through that loop and pulling it through. So we're going to yarn over, pull it back through. Don't let it get too wide, you want it to keep it through. And we're just going to do a single crochet, so we're going to yarn over and we're going to go through both. Now that's single crochet US terms. It's I think it's double crochet UK, isn't it? Yeah, so double crochet UK, single crochet US. If I've got that wrong, I'll put it on the bottom of the screen, but I'm pretty sure that's right. My brain is not working today because I'm currently fighting a migraine. But the work must go on. So when we've done that, we're just going to do that over again until we've surrounded this. So we're just going to keep doing single crochets around. So it's through the loop, yarn over, pull the yarn up through, yarn over and go through the two. Now try not to stretch your band while you're doing it, just keep it nice and loose, so don't have too high a tension. That will just make sure that while you're doing your work you're not overstretching this and then ruining the band before you've had a good use out of it. But these are really fun, cheap, and you can create these out of any colour yarn to match an outfit you're wearing, or if your little girl or boy has a school uniform colour that would look good in a scrunchie, you can do that. So you can do it in navy blue or red or whatever school uniform, so that it just kind of matches and really puts the outfit together. I like to have lots of different colours, one so it matches my hair because I change my hair colour often, and two to match the outfits for whatever I'm going out in. Right now the multicoloured one probably matches my hair most. So we're just going around filling this up, and you see how it's just slowly working around, but it's really tightly compact, but it's not expanding on it either, it's just neatly going around. And I'll show you when we're done the sort of way to work out whether you want to join or add a few more stitches. So we'll just get a few more done and then we can look. My coordination is a little off today because of the migraine. I apologise for keep missing the yarn over and having to redo it. I'm sure most of you won't mind. Okay, so I've got round to this. Now what you want to do, before we join it, you want to stretch it gently and see how it stretches. See, so it can go round, but you can see it's creating a little gap. So I'd say squish a couple more in. So just move them along a little. Just try to make sure that there's a leeway when it stretches, so that you're not restricting its movement, but not too many to overstuff it. As you use it, anything like this, it will spread out and become more even, so don't worry about that. So let's try that. I think that's pretty good because we've got a nice little bunch up there that will stretch around, look. So I think that looks pretty good, look. So we do have a gap, but it's not so much. Once this evens out, that gap will get a little smaller, and then good. So then we're just going to slip stitch into that first stitch we made, so that we now joined the base. From this point on, we're just going to work in spirals. It doesn't really matter. You can slip stitch at the end of each round if you want, but you know, this one was worked in a spiral, and you can't really tell where one row ended and the other one began and where I finished off. I know where I've finished off because of the colour change, but you can't really see it. It all looks the same. So it doesn't matter that you work on a spiral and have a little jump in it. Okay? There, buried in, because of the colour change you can see where I jumped off, but when that's buried around, nobody will notice it really, will they? So it doesn't matter. So, the next part is even simpler, and we're just going to now repeat the same thing over and over. This one has 3 rows of this repeat, and this one has 5 rows of the repeat, and that's the only difference. We're going to do the same thing over and over again. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to increase. We're going to do 2 single crochets, or 2 UK double crochets, in every single stitch. So go back into the one we slipped into, sorry, chain 1 and then go back in, because that prevents it being too tighter there. So do 2 into that one. The chain one's not counting as a stitch, it's just making it easier to see. So we've got 2 in there, then go to the next stitch, do 2 single crochets in that stitch, and just keep going around doing 2 single crochets or 2 US double crochets into every stitch. If you miss one and only put 1 in, it's not going to matter, no one's going to notice. If you accidentally put a third one into one, again, no one's really going to notice, but try to keep it reasonably even to the 2 so that you don't end up with one side bulkier or thinner than the other side. But the odd mistake, no one's going to notice. And it's this simple just to create the scrunchie. So we're just going to keep going around, and you see how I've got 2 in each one. It's already creating a little tiny little wave. Now obviously this is the first round, so it's not going to have much of a wave yet, but another couple of rounds and you can see it really does start to have that wave. I would love for you to share any scrunchies you make, because I love seeing all the stuff people make. I'm so sorry. I love seeing all the items people make from my tutorials, so if you'd like to share what you've made, there's a YouTube Facebook group. It's called Sonia Jones YouTube group. It's linked in my About Me section on YouTube, but if you just search for me, I'm sure you'd find me as well. If you answer the questions so I know why you've come across, I don't need lots of information, I just need to know what crafts it is, maybe how you found me, just so I know that you're a legitimate member and not someone who's come to spam my group. But then share your work. It doesn't have to be just the tutorials I do. I love seeing all the work people do, so please do feel free to come along and share your work. Some of my members do the most beautiful work, and I'll answer any questions you need on there as well. It doesn't necessarily have to be tutorial related. If you have a general craft question, I'm happy to try to answer if I can. I do multiple different crafts, but if you don't like social media groups, that's absolutely fine. If you'd still like to share your work with me, I'm happy to receive emails or messages with the work shared, so feel free to do that, because I just love seeing all the things people make, especially if they've made it from my tutorials, because then I know I've been helpful to someone, and there's nothing quite like feeling helpful to someone, is there? Almost round to the next round. I will show you. Probably should have put my yarn on the floor, it would feed better. I find my yarn feeds better if it's got a bit of gravity to it. So having it lower instead of the same level, and of course right now it's at the same level. But almost all the way back round, and you can see how the first row has already started to give a wave. One more. Okay, so that's the first row completed, and you can see it's already got a little wave coming on. As I said, if it's bunched up on it, that will even out. I'm so sorry. That will even out as you go, so don't worry about that. But that's the first row done. Now, as I said, if you want, you can slip stitch into that first stitch now and finish your own, chain one up and go around. But I'm just going to spiral because it makes no difference. So this is the first stitch we're going to do. And we're going to once again just put 2 stitches, 2 increases, 2 single crochets or 2 double crochets UK, I'm sorry, into this row. So it's just going to go down. And the thing is, you can choose how. Oops, put that yarn down so it feeds. How wavy you want it by how many rows you do. So for me, this time around, I'm just going to do 3 rows that I did on this one to show you, but you can carry on if you need to. I do recommend not going too much bigger than this one, because obviously that is a lot of extra weight and strain on the headband, and it will eventually get too bulky to use correctly. But you know, you can probably get away with another row or two before that becomes a problem. But we're just going to keep going around and around. Sorry if you can hear the noise. The walls are very thin here next to our neighbours, and someone's obviously moving around over there. Sorry, just untangling a knot in my yarn. It's the problem with reclaimed yarn. It gets a little tangled because it bounces back on itself. I'm running out of things to say to you while I do this without boring you all. I'm sorry. But can you see how the wave is already starting to get just a little bit more wavy now? So against that. By leaving this end out until you finish, you can see roughly where you want to stop when you completed the whole round. So I always leave my ends to the very end on something like this, because it's only going to have two ends anyway, so it's not a problem leaving your end to weave in until the end. If you have something with a large amount of ends, then weave in as you go is my recommendation. You know, every 4 ends or something weave in, so you don't have hundreds to do at the end. Sorry, go off camera there, just had to get my yarn again. And this is just how simple it is, just keep doing the 2 stitches into the 1 stitch. That's all it takes. And this will work with pretty much any size yarn, but obviously bear in mind the chunkier the yarn, the thicker the item will be, the less stitches and rows you'll need, but it'll also be stiffer. So personally I don't tend to go above DK weight, an hour and a push, but that's a personal choice. Obviously you can go thinner and use thinner yarns, and that can give you some really nice delicate scrunchies. Who remembers using wearing scrunchies in the 80s? Give my age away here. I used to love wearing very different multicoloured scrunchies when I was younger, or velvet ones, which I know a lot of people really didn't like, but I loved the velvet ones. They were always so soft. Those of you who are too young to be born in the 80s, yeah, missed out on some fun. Obviously it takes a little longer to get round as we have more stitches, but we're getting there. If you have trouble keeping up with me in my videos, or you're faster than me and you get bored waiting, the YouTube does have the ability to speed up and slow down videos, so feel free to, I think it's 3 little buttons on a phone. I can't remember, I'm not very good at remembering these things, but anyway, usually down at the bottom of the going to be that side, I think, won't it? Down at the bottom there's usually some options, and one of them, when you click them up, you can usually change the speed of the video. So you can change it to make it more suitable speed for you if you like. Because I know some people have had problems with some of my videos being either too long or too slow, or too fast, sorry, and had trouble following. So just slow it down or speed up to whatever you suit. The problem is I can't do a speed that's going to suit everybody, so I try to stay around the middle of the ground, so that people can usually follow reasonably well. Once you know what you're doing, you don't even have to watch the whole of this video. You can just carry on your own. I just do this whole lot because I know some people like to see all the way through to the end. I do. I like to see all the way through on a video. But I know some people just want to know the basics and then move on. So that you can do as well. Instead of just commenting that the video is too long, don't watch it all. It's your choice. I think you see we're back to where we started again, because there's just a little jump there, so I can see where we started. So this is 2 rounds. You can see how that's getting there. So a third round will bring it up to this one. So it's getting there. I'm going to just speed through this last round and not talk, and just speed it up, because obviously you've seen 2 rounds of how to do it now. You don't really need to see a third, do you? But you can see what it looks like at the end, okay? Okay, so this is now 3 rounds done, so that now matches that one. What I'm going to do is off camera, I'm just going to do a 4th round, and then you can see 3, 4 and 5, because these are 3 and 5, so if I do 4 on there you'll be able to see them all. I will zoom out for that so you can see, so I'll see you back in a minute when I've done another whole round. Okay, so I've done the full rows, the 4th row now, so to finish off we're literally just going to slip stitch into the next stitch. So go through your stitch, yarn over, pull through and pull through straight the way through, yarn over, pull up like you're doing a chain, snip your yarn, and then pull it through, and that's your end to weave in. Always leave a good length, that's probably a little excessive, but always leave a good length to weave in so you can really get down into it. But that is the one with 4 rows, so if I come out, that's in. Let's see, so this one here is with 3 rows, this one here is with 4 rows, which you can see even just 4 rows really made a difference. And then this one here is with 5 rows. So you can see it does make a really good difference between them. So you can get a varying thickness depending on how many rows you do, and I think that's really good because it makes it so much more interesting without being any more difficult to make. I think 4 is actually my favourite 4 rows because it gives a really good amount of curl without being huge. And someone with thin hair, this one might be a bit much, but this one's quite cool. With someone with really thin hair, might look really good with that one. But see, so they're really simple to make. So please do share any you make, I'd love to see them. But otherwise I hope that's been really helpful, and I will see you all soon.